when you stop trying to control negative thinking, that is when you can start to apply the tools and the principles to your own life, that you don't need to be that way. You release the control. It's something that most humans struggle every day, is to try to control the negative thinking mind, which is attached to the analytical mind. When you get away from the needing to control and just allow things to be, you live a life filled with peace, love, and joy. Now, most of us, when negative things happen, they don't feel very good. So then we put our focus on those things. We think that by being able to control or do something different towards that event, that it's going to change the way that we feel. When really you are just giving it more power. When you stop trying to give the thing and the thought in your mind more power, you start to release that way of thinking out of the subconscious mind. And what are we programmed to do when we have negative thoughts and we don't want them to be there and we try to control it? We try to dull them and have them removed by outside sources in the form of smoking, drinking, masturbating. These are things that are replacing something that is missing inside. Because when you don't like that feeling of whatever that event or person created in you, you need the outside substance to hide what it is you are going through, to try to control it. And then you end up back where you started. Once the dopamine and the high from whatever substance or thing that you did to yourself goes away. And how are we supposed to let go of these negative thoughts? What are we supposed to do? You allow them to be there and release the control and surrender it to something greater. And that is where you're beginning to open the portals to spirituality, being more spiritually connected. You release the control to those thoughts and know that being able to fix those thoughts is not going to bring you salvation. That attractive person coming into my life and giving me those good feelings of respect, of me feeling good enough, that's not what's going to save you. That the work that you do on the inner self is better than what these things and people bring to you to make you feel on the outer self. You start to do the work, you do the work on how you feel inside to bring you joy, happiness, and love. And you're able to share that and no longer hold on to resentment, hold on to anger, and then try to manipulate the outer so then you can then feel good on the inner. When these thoughts come up, the best way to actually have them go through the body and be dissipated, transmuted, we call that in the spiritual and yoga world, it's transmuting thoughts as per the meditation I do with the higher self meditation. I will link in the top corner. When you put those feelings in a box and transmute it during a meditation, Or if you're doing it on your own, to transmute is to let go. And to let go is to use the surrender technique and surrender to them. Know that you trying to have control over them, you trying to stop them, is bringing more power to them. The only way to completely get away from it is to bring more awareness to why. Bring more awareness to how come that feeling is still stuck in you. And then admit to yourself, how come? Admit to yourself the why. And then you have to start to do the inner work on that. To start to feel more peace. Who you are at your core before programming is peace. It's love. Be able to share your love with others. But most of the negative programming has us living in survival every day. The fear of loss, the fear of being in scarcity. And scarcity is the lack. Lack is what creates neediness and people-pleaser qualities. When you become aware of that lack, that you are missing something, you can bring it up and let it go. And know that you are enough in the present moment. And the key to feeling inner peace, love, joy, compassion for others is to bring the energy back to the present moment. Because in the present, the past event that's creating this thought, it exists, but there's no power to it. The power is in the now. The power is in the right here. Because that event and that thing that keeps coming up, that has stored a blockage within you from being able to feel pure love, joy, and peace. That blockage no longer has the strength to control your body anymore, because in the present, that thing is just what it is, and you choose forgiveness. You choose surrender. And you do this for yourself. And you let go. And when you deal with that person, the next time you see them in person or texting, your attitude and the way that you feel about life will change. Because you're no longer holding on to that. And it no longer creates a temperament in the body in the form of reactions. You take your power back and you become who you were meant to be on this spiritual journey. Who you were meant to be is who you were at your core before you learned all of the programming. And a lot of that comes from the inner child. The inner child learned a lot of things and went through a lot of things back in the day. These things are stored within us to cause us to react, act, think, and feel in certain ways in accordance to certain circumstances in our lives. When you go back in time and do some work with a spiritual teacher, a conscious God, you bring more awareness to those dark moments in your life and start to do some inner child work to release the blocks that is blocking you from feeling pure love, from elevating your state of consciousness and elevating your vibe for good. On the channel here, the theme, we are here to elevate our vibration to that, to have courage and live above courage and no longer be in pride and below. And when you practice the letting go technique that was taught in the Letting Go book by David Hawkins, you learn that these negative life moments that create thoughts and feelings, they are just that. They are not who you are, and you lose the identity that is attached to it. You become who you are as a separate being, and you let go of the ego self, the ego way of living and thinking. And you become awareness of that program, and you choose to treat yourself with love. And you have compassion for what you went through. But you do enough inner work with it that you're able to surrender it to someone greater and know that that program doesn't run you anymore. You have the strength to live beyond it. Create the best character possible. We are creating the best self on the channel by elevating our inner vibration as an energy teacher, an energy coach. It's what I help people do one-on-one. It's what I help people do in the YouTube videos. And those negative thoughts that consumed us for long enough, and we're not willing to live like that anymore. We're not willing to be dependent on others for our happiness anymore. And you realize what you were chasing after was not going to save you. That was an illusion. That illusion is an attachment. When you lose the attachment, you start to feel self-love again. And self-love is the cure to feeling lack. And when these things happen to us in those relationships and circumstances that hurt our feelings, that hurt us, and they were stored subconsciously, you rediscover the self-love that you have for yourself, and you are capable of giving to yourself. And you're that way with yourself. And when you're that way with yourself, you have no problems in sharing that love and kindness and compassion with others. And when you discover this path on your spiritual journey and have an awakening, a big breakthrough, I could do this. I can do this. Then you start to help and want to share your story and your path with others, with people who are on similar journeys, and help them discover their best selves. So try the next time that a negative thought comes up that is connected to the past, not trying to control it. And eventually you'll move away from it. And you'll start thinking about something that is creating your best self, or something that you love that's currently in your life. Because the less power and control that you give to that temperament, that old life negative moment, the less it will want to exist in the human mind. The more that you try to control it and fix the way that you feel and fix that thing that you don't like, the less that it will consume you, the less it will control you. You just allow it to be. And it is, in the present moment, something that happened, and you can't change it. You start to live with acceptance towards that and towards anything else in your life. And you start to live your life in alignment with your path on creating the best self. And I'm going to help you get there. I thank you for watching this one. And at the end of the video, I'm going to attach an older video I made at the beginning of this YouTube journey that I am on. It was one of my better ones that I made, that people connected with the energy that I was embodying. And it was my very first video on explaining the surrender technique and how to let go of these negative thoughts and feelings, and being able to separate ourselves from it as the consciousness, as the awareness that lets go of the ego way of living and thinking, that can just observe it and know that who we are in the present moment is not that old event. Who we are and we choose to be is not that past event. And when it does come up, you allow it to be there. You disconnect the thought from the feeling, allow the feeling to flow and dissipate out of the body and be gone for good. And you move on to good feelings throughout your day after that. So thank you for watching this one. I will attach that letting go technique video right here.